Alright, so in this tutorial we're going to discuss action sheets. And just to remind you of what an action sheet is, this is an action sheet. It's this area down here. So we're going to get started by first creating a new project. And we're going to create a single view app, and we're going to call it Action Sheets Tutorial. Okay. Make sure you choose Swift as the language and SwiftUI as the user interface builder. And core data, and I leave all this stuff on, but you can turn it off, it's not really relevant. So I'm going to create it on the desktop, and once it is nice and created, we can click resume on the canvas. We can take a peek at what our default look is, and we should just see hello world dead center on the screen. And what we're going to do once it loads up is we're going to start by going to this area right here, this library, and in the library we're going to look for a button. So you can see right here, hello world, that's the default. What we're going to do is we're going to drop a button into here, and we're going to remove the text hello world. So now the preview should show us a button, okay? We're going to make that button say, show me an action sheet. If you haven't had a chance, make sure you go and check out the buttons and state variables tutorial. I'll put the link in the description because you're going to need both of those to understand what we're going to do next. So what we need to do is we need to create a state variable, and we'll call it isVisible. Okay, and we'll set that equal to false. And that's because right now it is not visible. So what you'll find is that, well, what we're going to do is we're going to make the action of this button, it's going to toggle isVisible. So it's going to be isVisible or self.isVisible.toggle. So what that means is every time you click the button, it's going to toggle on and off. And we talked about that in the state variables and buttons video. And this, whether it's true or false, that is actually going to dictate whether or not we are looking at the action sheet. So let's see how that works right here. So I'm going to, at the end of, so this is button. At the end of button, I'm going to say action sheet. Okay, and I'm just going to keep this initializer, I'm just going to keep this much of it, okay? And I'm going to say action sheet, whether or not it is presented is dependent on the variable is visible. And what we need to do is we need to make sure that is visible has this $sign. That's pretty crucial because this is a binding variable. What that means is that it's going to be listening for that back and forth, and it also means that this will be able to write to that as well. So right now it's false, and when you click this button it'll turn to true, which will activate the action sheet being shown. And let's go ahead and let's go ahead and write the next part of this, which is action sheet, and we need to initialize that action sheet like so. So when we click this button, it's going to show us an action sheet. It's going to toggle this to true. It's going to show us is visible, and it's going to, we're going to put a title for this, and it's going to be, the title is just going to say title. We're going to give it a message. It's going to say this is a message. I'm going to write something a little long. Let's just go ahead and do that, copy and paste a couple times. That way we see what it looks like. And now we can just put a list of buttons, okay? So I like to kind of put lines there. I think it's easier to look at, so I like to do that. And the first one will be an action sheet button, and it'll be a default type button, okay? And we'll give it, the button will say first option, and when you click that button, that's going to go in this action here. We're not going to do anything, so we're going to leave it just like that, okay? The next, I'm going to add a second button, and I'm going to add a third button. Now, this third button will not be a default button. It'll be it's not autocomplete because we need to put a comma between every button. So the next one will be a destructive button. What that means is like a cancel button. So we'll just write cancel. Okay, and we'll write second button, second option here, first option here. And just so you understand, if I wanted to execute something, I would execute it here. Okay. So I'll go ahead and close that. Add code here. If I wanted to execute something, I'd execute it there. Similarly, right there. Okay. Just gonna clean that up for you. And now, if I run this, oh, it doesn't like that intro cancel. It needs to be a text. It's not a string. So it's saying, give it a text view to display, and the text view will have the word cancel. All right, try again. Now, if I click this, if I preview it, what we see is exactly what we're hoping for. We get an action sheet with cancel, first option, second option. We see where the title and the message go. All right. If you have any questions, just shoot me a message in the comments below. Thanks.